Welcome to the Mike Miller Show. Hope you guys are having a phenomenal weekend. We got in here on a Sunday because we were all busy as hell yesterday. How was y'all's weekend, man?
My weekend's been pretty good.
How's
Casey?
Pretty good. Hanging in. New day.
All right, guys. Real quick, I have to get this off my chest.
Okay.
So last night, me and my wife, we went out to a incredible Italian restaurant that we have in the area. And it's one of those restaurants, you better bring a $200 bill, but it's way worth it, right? So,
Mamma mia.
It's fucking amazing. It's so good. I had a filet mignon with a white brandy sauce. It was incredible. My wife got the rolly, and then when it was all said and done, she's like, "I think I want some champagne." I was like, "Cool. I could use another cigar." She shot that down because I have like 35 in my humidor, but whatever. I ended up getting one anyway. And so I'm in the whiskey section. I'm over in the whiskey aisle. And it's a big fucking store. And I'm just kind of perplexed because I'm like, I'm not real sure how to feel. I think I'm kind of like an alcoholic because everything here worth trying, I've already tried it. And the guy's like, "Can I help you with anything?" The guy that works there, right? But no, man, I think I've had everything here that it's worth having. You haven't had everything here that's worth having. And he pulls up this fucking bottle. And let me ask you what you think when I say the name of this bottle. Pure Kentucky.
Made in China.
Exactly. I was thinking this is some cheap shit, right? He's like, "Well, how much do you typically pay? How much do you typically pay for an aged 12-year whiskey?" I was like, "I don't know, like $80-$90, somewhere in there." And he's like, $39.99. And I was like, "Done. I'll buy that shit. You're good at your job. Good salesman." So I get this shit. We get home. Lindsay pops her champagne, and it is like fucking dope champagne for her. She's very happy with it. I cracked this aged 12-year pure Kentucky, pure gut rot.
Oh yeah, did it taste like kerosene?
Dude, I wasted a Pepsi because I had to have a mixer.
I told you, fucking made in China.
Well, I'm looking at the bottle now. I'm actually going to finish
Those
the
little
bottle
fucking weirdos, they fucking hacked Kentucky. Fuck those people.
Dude, it is. I would rather drink Kessler's than touch this shit. I would rather drink Kessler's straight than this shit with a Pepsi.
I'll drink Kessler straight.
Kessler's is actually not that bad. I don't mind
I'll
Kessler.
be your Huckabee.
Oh, dude. But yeah, like, so Pure Kentucky XO, our dear listeners, just stand the fuck away from it. It's not even worth your time. If you're into shitty whiskey, it's certainly for you.
I'm drinking Four Roses single barrel.
Is that my fault that you're drinking that one?
No. You bought me Four Roses Barrel Select.
Which is better.
I bought myself because I go to Costco to buy my whiskey. So it's actually cheaper. The
you go to Costco because you can buy it by the pallet.
Well, I mean, I can buy it by the half gallon. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, so this week, before we really get into the guts of the show, if it's cool with you, Casey, like we received emails from our listeners early on that they liked the show. They really like to hear about us as people. They find that to be very interesting. So with your permission, we were going to kind of rapid fire, ask you some questions so our audience can get to know you.
Oh, God. I guess that's fair.
Why don't you rapid fire those questions, Joe?
I should have had whiskey this morning.
Well, it's not too late for you, young lady. You can still do that if you insist.
No, I'm good.
See, Mike's currently drinking a phenomenal whiskey. I'm currently drinking a shit whiskey, and you are currently drinking no whiskey. So I'm
drinking a good whiskey and a cappuccino that I made.
Sounds pretty free.
Cheers.
He legit is drinking a cappuccino. Like, put your pinky out when you use that little bitty cup. Is that cup from your daughter's tea set?
Oh my God.
No, it's actually a cappuccino cup.
See, the fact that there's like that there's things like cappuccino cups, man, you live in pretty fucking bougie over there.
Fuck yeah, I'm living bougie. Hey, I've lived on the streets, my friend. I revel in my bouginess.
Well, if I'm drinking really bad whiskey, this must be what poverty feels like.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, I know what poverty feels like, and yeah, really bad whiskey.
Okay, Casey, are you ready for these questions? We're gonna start out basic, and then we're gonna get way more complex as we get going. Fair?
Oh god, sure.
Okay. Favorite book?
Oh, that's a loaded question. I like books. I don't know. We'll have to circle back to that.
Okay.
There's a lot
circling
of
back. Music. Like if you can go to any show, period. Living, band doesn't exist, alive, dead, died in a plane accident, whatever. Go.
Pink Floyd, Leonard Skinner, or Blink-182. Three-way tie.
Wow. It's pretty vast, honestly.
Dude, that reminds me of so right before I went to Iraq, I went to a Kid Rock Leonard Skinner show.
Duh.
Holy shit. I have never been so ready to fucking go to Iraq in my whole life.
Kid Rock came to Iraq when I was there. And I have to tell you, that was the best concert I've ever been to, considering I was completely fucking sober.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Fuck, man. Kid Rock can do a concert. I met the Nuge in Gitmo.
Yeah, I remember that. I somehow missed that one because I was also in Gitmo at the time. No fucking clue how I missed that boat. Must have been. I think I got there like what, 2 or 3 months before you. So he must have come in at my second, like once I had already left.
It must have been. He was classy as fuck, man. I was at the bar.
I love that you say classy as fuck. Like that's a thing.
Like he was. I was drinking like 4 hours before the show. I was at the bar. I was at the Jammer.
Oh, the Jammer! I've been in so many fights at that joint.
Yes. So
okay, real quick, not the caveat.
Wait. So I'm sitting down, and I fucking look over, and fucking Ted Nugent is there, and I'm like, whoa. And so I go over and say hi to him. I'm like, hey, man, can I buy you a beer? He's like, I don't drink. Apparently, famously.
Oh.
Like, Ted Nugent doesn't drink. He's a teetotaler. But we had the best conversation, man.
I know the dude's really fucking smart. I know that.
Yeah.
Well, what I was going to say is I remember, I think it was the first time you ever went to the Jammer. You caved in the rib cage of a sailor.
Yeah, that and like most subsequent times.
Oh, well, the first time, okay, Casey, you weren't there, so let me preface, let me start by saying that like were drinking heavily prior to us going to the one of 4 bars on the whole fucking base.
Yes.
And the Jammer was the closest one, so that's kind of our go-to because we were, it's the shortest driving distance with Mike's fucking Punisher van.
I'll send pics.
Yeah, you need to send her pics of this fucking dope-ass van. This thing is incredible.
Yes.
That van had some times, man.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it was all black. It was an all black Ford Econoline with a Punisher skull in the front that only played death metal.
Yeah. It was you played a lot of Afro Man out of that van too.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah. Death metal and Afro Man.
That's all you need. So we drive. I think somehow you drove there. We do not condone drinking and driving on the Mike Miller Show. We just did a lot of it back in our youth. Don't judge us.
Well practiced.
Yeah. So anyway, we get there, and I don't even fucking know like how it. I think you were talking to a girl, and this dude took exception, and you're like, "What are you going to do about it?" or something. No, I'm sorry. He says to you, "Well, you're like, dude, why don't you get the fuck out of my face?" And you're like, "What are you going to do about it?" And without saying a word, you just caved in this dude's fucking chest. And then like his friend moved in, and I took that dude on, and he was fucking way bigger than me, so I don't think I really won that one. But like, when in doubt, punch him in the throat, and that's what had to happen. So
I remember one time You tried to hit on an on-duty MP?
Yeah, she came back to the barracks later on. You didn't know that part.
Oh,
Yeah.
this motherfucker. So
Yeah.
he tries to hit on a fucking on-duty MP while he's hammered drunk.
All wasted. Yeah, her name was
Real wasted.
Cadence. Her name was Cadence. She was fun. Anyway.
She was a redhead.
Yeah, she was.
And she was tall.
Yeah, she was.
And so he fucking... I had to keep this motherfucker from getting arrested because he would not leave it alone.
Hey, man. Persistence, bro.
I didn't know that's why she wanted to put cuffs on you.
Precisely. It was, dude, she was cool, and then she got, like, fucking clingy.
Okay, next question.
Okay. You want to circle back to the favorite book question, or are you kind of good on that?
Sure. I would say it would have to be Fahrenheit 451, especially today, because the way that it plays into everything going on.
You know, I own the book. I've never actually read it.
Really?
Yeah.
So I went through this binge of dystopian novels, right? And so I read 1984, Fahrenheit 451, and Brave New World, all in like 1 month, and then freaked out for the next 6 months.
Somebody has told me that if you read Ayn Rand's The Fountainhead while you're on drugs, it'll fucking ruin your life.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
Fucking Ayn Rand will ruin your life.
My wife is a huge fan.
I'm a huge fan. Ayn Rand's a fucking genius. But god damn it.
Mike, fire off one of these questions.
Oh, God.
I can only think of the questions she specifically doesn't want asked. Ever.
Well, then we're not gonna ask those out of respect for our new sister on this show.
Fair enough. Let's see. Favorite food.
Wow.
Oh, God.
I
I'm
have
a
nothing.
pig.
I have nothing. The only things in my head are what I'm not allowed to say.
Yeah.
I don't know if that. Wait, is that really where the questions were focused?
No. God no.
Oh.
God,
But now it's like the forbidden fruit. Now that he knows,
yeah, that
he
was
can't ask
kind of
him.
the
That's
joke.
all he wants to think
That
about.
was kind of the joke.
Yeah.
Favorite
Is
food would be
is-
salad.
Salad. Wow.
Yeah, or chicken.
Or chicken.
Yep.
Well,
Like what kind of chicken? We're talking fried chicken or fucking grilled chicken? Like chicken
Grilled
wings?
chicken.
Like what the
Grilled-
fuck? No.
Oh yeah, I'm a picky person, dude. Like my
No.
family hates me because I don't eat a lot of stuff.
Dude, okay,
Yeah.
so you want to like basically a grilled chicken salad is kind of like your fucking like wet dream.
Well, no, but I like it.
Well, I like it, but like, you know, I mean, so like anybody who's like
fine.
salad's their
Fine.
favorite food, I'm kind of like
How's
you need
chicken
to get
parm?
some God damn
chicken
it.
parm. That works. Yeah.
Ah. Ask me the same question.
What's your favorite food?
Beef.
I swear to God, I thought he was going to say dicks.
What'd you have for dinner? Dick and Doritos.
Oh my God. We need help.
why would you think I would say that, dude?
I don't
Okay.
know.
It's really hard to believe that people find us entertaining. I think we're fucking weird.
Well, fuck them. Don't listen. Like we're like I don't know. The international listeners were fucking on it this week, dude.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh,
Nice.
dude, like fucking Sweden just turned up. They were like, "What's up, dog?" And like, they loved our shit. So
You know what? I normally, when you bring up international listeners, normally my first instinct is to bash whatever country it is. But you know what? The Swedes didn't go into a lockdown and didn't wreck their economy. And so to the Swedes, I say cheers.
cheers, indeed. Who else? We had obviously France is like fucking 14% of our listenership always. So there's that. Who else did we have? I think we had a lot of Belgium, Germany, UK. I want to say South Africa. they're pretty big too. We have a lot of listeners in South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, and I want to say a first in Argentina.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's not too bad. Anyway, you need to ask her a question that doesn't suck.
Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Yes.
No, we're gonna debate right fucking now.
No, we are not.
Yes, we are. Why is it a Christmas movie?
I said it to piss you off because most people say no.
Well, I get it. No, it's a fucking action movie that takes place during the time of Christmas. In order for it to be a Christmas movie, Christmas has to be a central fucking theme in said movie.
Christmas is a central theme.
No, it's not, Mike. I never want to discuss this on the podcast again, or I swear to God, it's over.
It's about a man coming to. All right. First of all, we're gonna discuss whatever we want to discuss.
No.
Yes.
No. Freedom of speech is out the fucking window on Die Hard being a Christmas movie.
Die Hard is a Christmas movie. It's
Thank you.
basically a Hallmark film.
I hate both of you.
It's about a man coming together with his family despite serious obstacles in his way on fucking Christmas.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
No.
He's
First of all, his family doesn't even fucking like him. Okay?
Yeah. That a Hallmark movie.
No, usually the family likes him, but it's like a fucking cocksucker of a father-in-law that's like making shit difficult. No, in this one, it's like the dude was kind of a shitty person, and his wife fucking didn't like his ass anymore. Like, I mean,
It's still a Christmas movie.
Casey?
It's a traditional Christmas movie in my home. It goes like this. It goes Elf, A Christmas Story, Die Hard.
I'm going to say something that's pretty controversial. I think A Christmas Story sucks.
That is pretty controversial. And you can soundly go fuck yourself.
It's not a good movie.
This conversation should never come up again.
It's not a good movie.
It's so
not
emotional.
A good movie. It's not emotional. The kid's a fucking brat, and he fucking wants this BB gun so bad, and he ends up fucking doing the one thing that everybody told him he was going to do in the first place. I could have summed that movie up in 5-minute short film. I will say that when he beats the shit out of the bully, I was pretty stoked about that.
Christmas Story.
Okay. There's 2 parts to the whole movie, neither of which involve a fucking BB gun. What's that?
What's your favorite Christmas movie?
Probably Home Alone.
Yeah, you're right. Home Alone is But you know what? Fuck you. Because if Die Hard isn't a Christmas movie, then Home Alone isn't a Christmas movie. It's basically the same thing.
No, not true. Not true.
It's an
I didn't
action
see.
movie.
There was no fucking paint cans flying down the stairway at fucking Nakamura Tower, dude. Go fuck yourself.
Nakatomi Plaza, you
Whatever
son of
the
a
fuck.
bitch.
Never forget Nakatomi Plaza. I'm glad that our listeners are really getting to know Casey here. Oh, well, I've been drinking for about an hour. Okay.
So are we ready to actually get this thing started?
No. We got to get more into the fucking questions here, dude.
Okay, one more. You have one more for Casey.
Okay. Casey.
Yes.
What is your spirit animal?
Oh God. What? I don't know. I just call myself the animal, but I'd say a lion.
Okay, cool. I can appreciate that. What's your spirit animal, Mike? May I?
I don't. Yeah, go for
Whiskey.
it. Yeah. Okay. That's not an animal per se.
It can be.
Yeah, it can be. I don't know if I had a spirit animal. I don't know. It would probably be like so like a fucking badger maybe.
It might be my dog. He just showed up the moment. If I had a spirit animal and he walked through the door all fucking majestic like.
Yeah, it might be your dog. Your dog might be my spirit. Yeah, Cooper.
It might be Cooper.
Cooper is my
Say
spirit
hi to you,
animal.
buddy.
For sure.
Oh, hi, Cooper. Oh.
Cooper is great.
Dude,
Anyway.
Fucking Cooper, didn't he crash with you guys? Like when you were here? Yeah, he's the best sleeper for a dog, I swear.
So, What do you guys think of old Joe Biden and his inauguration speech?
Much.
I actually didn't listen.
Did you listen, Casey?
I did, actually.
That's great. I'm glad that someone does the work.
No, I didn't. I didn't listen just because like any speech he's ever made has been so fucking bad. Like I was, I'm kind of good, you know.
Well, you didn't miss much, Joe, because here was my first point of contention with Joe Biden's, whatever you want to call it, illegitimate POTUS speech. So it was on a
I
bunch
love
of,
that you threw that in, by the way.
well, I mean, it's facts. So Snapple Fact 1776, Joe Biden's a dickhead. But anyway, so when he was speaking, he was the crux of the conversation with, himself, hoping he didn't mess it up, was unity. And then he had the balls at the end of said shit speech to say thank you to the military, which I find particularly piquant considering they just slept on a garage floor. And I mean, the whole thing, it was basically to layman's people who don't really give a shit and probably deranged liberals, it was like, oh, unity. But then everything he was talking about was sectioning people off. Like whenever you look at the way Joe Biden speaks, one of the problems I have is he goes off of community. He's very big in saying the black community, the white community, the Latino community. He doesn't just say the American people. He doesn't say it for like a common good. He always has to like section people off. And I just think
that's pretty insightful. I never really thought about that until you said that.
I mean, if you go back and just type in popular or well-known Biden quotes or some that some people may have issue with, one of the most common threads is he notates first your skin color and then he plays on that. Whereas if you go back and you look at the way that Trump or previous presidents had addressed the people, it wasn't because of, their skin tone. It was because they were the American people.
Well, I came across a clip a while back. It was Joe Biden back in like the late 70s. And he was going on and on about this speech about how we can't, and I apologize for the language that's going to be used, we can't have a nigger in Senate because we already have a nigger as a mayor. And I'm thinking, how in the fuck is this dude like going to sit here and talk about race relations when that guy is notorious segregationist?
Uh-huh.
And nobody seems to give a shit about his
You've
facts.
heard Joe Biden say that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I'll find you the
Whoa!
clip. I will find you
There's
the clip.
a clip of it. I might have it archived too, but if you don't have it, Joe, I'll shoot it over to Mike. But yes, he actually said.
Go ahead and shoot it over to him because I honestly don't know where it is. It's somewhere. I have it somewhere, but I don't know
Wow.
where.
Yeah, good luck finding that shit on Google now.
No shit. You know where I found it, believe it or not? YouTube.
Yeah. YouTube. You know what? If you can't find it on YouTube anymore, because probably that shit's taken down, DuckDuckGo is is like a good alternative to Google if you can't find what you're looking for on Google.
Well, I mean, he made this. I know he made a big deal about how he wants to end systemic racism, and my only thing on that is, dude, shut the fuck up until your fucking bill goes away that you wrote. I don't want to hear shit.
Exactly.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. So here's what I was thinking the entire time that Joe Biden was speaking. I'm so glad that Donald Trump is gone, and now we can go back to regular political liars that I can understand. Well, like honestly, like it was so refreshing to have politics as usual.
To just be lied to flat out, yeah.
Well, not just be lied to flat out, but be lied to in this specific way. I don't know why, but I found it really comforting.
Well, I mean, it was familiar.
It was familiar political bullshit.
Like honestly, like it's that song. Hello, darkness, my old friend. It felt normal. It felt good. Like yeah. Oh man.
I was like, oh my god, a president that I can love to hate again. This is great.
Oh, and for the record, those troops that had to sleep on the garage floor, like those lucky bastards, I have literally slept on gravel. It sucks.
Yeah. You know what wasn't happening to those fucking National Guard troops? They weren't getting shot at. Yeah. So, like, those are some of the luckiest motherfucking people in the entire military.
Yeah, all right. So I can see your point there, but when you have local establishments bringing them soup and telling them not to have to piss in a trash can because they were there, no one really gave a shit that they were there. Jill Biden shows up with 2 baskets full of like chocolate chip cookies. Like, lady, are you out of your fucking gourd?
Oh,
They
that
want
was a
soup.
photo op, dude.
Yeah, that was nothing more than be like, oh hi, I'm a fake doctor and I'm here to give you some cookies. Like, no one cares.
You know what?
Well,
I've actually met Jill Biden. And
That's
nice lady. She was
Really?
nice though. Yeah,
you met her?
I almost knocked her over in Iraq.
I thought you said I almost knocked her up. I thought that would have been hilarious.
No, I almost knocked her. I went around a corner, right? I was in Iraq. I was at Bagram Air Base. Is that what it is? Or
no, you were
Baghdad Airport. Yeah.
Biop,
So,
yeah.
Yeah, I was at Biop. There we go. And I was in the PX at Biop, and I walked around a corner and ran right into fucking Joe Biden.
Did Secret Service lose their shit?
Secret Service wasn't there. I like helped her up. She like fell over when I ran into her because I'm a giant man and she's a frail old woman.
Why the fuck wasn't the Secret Service around? Considering she's in a fucking
her up. I'm
dangerous
like,
country.
I'm so sorry for running into you. And then I was like, holy shit, you're Joe Biden. And she was like, yeah.
Dr. Jill Biden, just
But
so
she
you fucking know.
Let's be dick like that. We had a nice, cordial conversation for a second.
Did you ask her why her husband's a piece of shit?
No. You don't do that when you meet people, especially if they're nice.
Yes,
Speaking of, by the way, real quick, that dinner that I had last night, I swear to God, this is a true story. I was looking over, and I kept fucking looking over. My wife was like, what are you looking at? I was like, I swear to God, that's Hunter Biden 3 tables over. She looks at me, and she's like, dude, are you fucking high? I'm like, no, that's fucking Hunter Biden. So here's what my wife said. That's not Hunter Biden, and I'll prove it. She gets up. She walks over there and says, are you Hunter Biden? Mm-hmm. And he's like, no. Okay. She walks back. It's not Hunter Biden. I was like, God damn it! Why did you do that? Like, you made it so weird.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Particularly Mike, because he voted Biden. What's your thoughts on him being heard recently, not having any idea of the executive orders that he was signing? Did you catch that?
Well, what that sounds like to me is that he is passing off his leadership roles to his staff, which is kind of what I expect.
Okay. I was listening to something a while back, and it was like, here's what Joe Biden wants to do in his first 100 days. And they had all this shit, right? Like, he wants 100 million vaccinations.
Joe Biden can't keep all these things in his head at the same time.
Dude, you want to know what was missing from the list that I thought really should have been on the list? Not die.
True.
Yeah. That needed to be on the list.
Yeah, I've actually heard Joe Biden say, if we have a substantial disagreement, me and Kamala, and we can't come to some kind of, if we can't come to some kind of an agreement, then I'll just claim that I'm sick and I'll leave office.
That, honestly, dude, I'm not a conspiracy guy at all, but when Pelosi was super pushing for 25th Amendment and shit, like super pushing for that, I was kind of thinking that is not for Donald Trump. Well, if he's unfit for office, we'll just get rid. No, they knew Biden was going to fucking win, and now they can just kick his ass out. But is that embarrassing or not for the Democratic Party that they put forth a candidate that can't even complete the first term? Is that embarrassing, do you think?
I think here's the thing with that, right? Is that we live in like a gerontological age. Like we live in like an age of old people.
Fair.
Running shit. And it's because specifically, I think, that those same old people did such a good job of suppressing the like will for political power or political education in our public school system that they basically created a whole generation of people who were inept to do anything. I really do think that. Like
I know you do. That's why it's funny, because it's
you
like,
know,
God, only in America could this happen.
like I think that that's what our educational system has done. And that's what the dumbing down, I think that's what the 24-hour news cycle has done. You know, you have a group of people in the White House right now who grew up in an age of books and newspapers and real good journalism. Um, and those people are dying slowly, you know. Um, and I think the group that would replace them grew up in an age of of cable news and then followed by the internet. And I don't think that we're seeing it, or maybe I think that we're seeing for the first time what a politics of the internet looks like, and it's scary as hell.
You know what this brings me back to is the second time that we had Casey Lynn on the podcast, and I reminisced about how Time magazine called our generation of soldier the second greatest generation, and I'm thinking that's a pretty fucking massive gap. You know, like they had one letter and maybe a picture to keep them warm while they were on the fucking front at the Battle of the Bulge. We had Xbox and internet porn, dude. Like, it was so different. How the hell could you even remotely compare the two?
Whatever, the Vietnam generation had drugs and hookers. So
Yeah.
you come up, you tell me drugs and hookers or Skype and Pornhub. I'm just
Okay.
gonna say.
Okay. First of all, because of Vietnam, they ruined all the fun wars for everybody else.
They did. Those fucking, you know what? If you're a Vietnam veteran, I don't mean to pile on.
I love you guys. You guys are awesome, but you really fucked us, you know?
Right? Like, I can't really say anything because you had to deal with the worst reunion, the worst coming home in all of US history.
Dude,
You know,
okay, when you came home from Iraq, who was the first person to meet you when you got off the plane?
probably a Vietnam veteran.
Yeah, it was Vietnam vets that wanted to take my bags, and I felt so shitty for that.
But it was sweet though, you know? Like I remember when I got home, I remember the Patriot Guard escorting our bus
Yes.
from the airport back to base, right?
Well, yeah, we did all that, like Vietnam vet, and I was like, "You guys don't have to do this. I'm more than capable of carrying my own shit." And they're like, "Nah, dog, you're gonna get the reunion that I never got. You're gonna get the homecoming that I didn't get."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay, well, obviously it's very important to him, so I'm not gonna take this from him."
I remember
I felt like a real piece of shit for that.
I remembered being literally moved to tears.
I remember kissing the fucking ground when I got back to the States.
Yeah.
Like, nothing says I love America quite like almost dying for that shit.
Yeah.
But, and then I went to Austin. I got hammered and woke up at a strange girl's bedroom. It was great. I loved it. America.
America.
No, man.
Strong finish. Strong finish.
It's
She was
it's a hard
really
thing.
nice. She's now a Dallas police
I bet.
officer. Yeah.
All right. So, back to Joe Biden.
Yes. Fuck that guy. Go on.
Here's
Yeah.
here's the thing. I think with Joe Biden in office, I think the left is going to have a really hard time radicalizing to any like fervor. And I think the right will calm down because I think Joe Biden is going to work with the conservative establishment. So I think Joe Biden and his people are going to work with McConnell. So when Joe Biden talks about unity, I don't think it's all bullshit. I think he wants the political elite in this country to unify. You know, to work together.
To caveat off of what, in Casey Lynn, I would really like your input on this. To caveat off of what you just said regarding the radical left will kind of go away, would you agree or disagree, Casey Lynn, that without Trump, an AOC cannot really exist effectively?
I disagree because I think you're going to see AOCs no matter who's president, no matter who's anywhere in government, because that's where we're headed. Because we're missing fundamentals, so these people are going to keep popping up because they're missing the integral parts that'll actually make them a worthy politician. That makes sense.
Okay, so who is the AOC of the right? I have my thoughts on this.
The AOC of the right? Well,
I'm gonna go with Matt. I'm gonna go with Matt Gaetz.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He just kind of reminds me of a spoiled fucking country club kid who never really learned how to shut his fucking mouth when it was appropriate. But that's one man's opinion. I don't dislike the guy. I just think he needs to learn how to not be a fucking brat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
So here's my thing. Sorry, I was trying to get through a thought.
Go on.
What really bothered me about the inauguration wasn't necessarily Joe Biden's speech. Even though, like I said before, I found it oddly comforting to be lied to in such a traditional way. What bothered me was 30,000 American troops, federal police, local police from select cities outside of DC, all being there to protect a supposedly democratically elected leader.
Uh-huh.
If you're a democratically elected leader, why do you need more troops by a factor of 5 times more than Abraham Lincoln needed when the fucking South was on the march to fucking DC to burn down the Capitol? When the South was on the march, there were 5,000 troops stationed at the Capitol to protect it.
6 times the amount.
That's during the Civil War. Yeah. 6 times the number were there to protect this inauguration.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying anything about anything. I'm just saying we should maybe think about that, and that should maybe sicken us just a little bit.
I think it does. I think everyone across the board felt the same way, no matter which side you went to, no matter which mind you picked. I think people were disgusted at that display, A, because there was no reason for it, or at least one that we were provided with. And 2, it's a very daunting idea to have that kind of presence. It's something that's supposed to unify a nation. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. So what are we supposed to do? Sit and wonder like they're extending them. They're extending some of those troops until March. Why?
March? What the fuck?
March.
Well, I mean, I sit here and I take pause because the 1st Cavalry Division out of Fort Hood, Texas, it was my division. It's the biggest division in the Army at 18,000 troops. So you needed basically the entire 1st Cav plus 12,000. That's unbelievable to me.
Yeah. Like,
I don't know. Have you ever seen a division run?
And no one's talking about that. No one's talking about it. No one's talking about how fucking crazy that is. How much of a departure from the norm that is. No one's talking about a fucking inauguration with no fucking citizens there. They didn't even have some paltry number of fucking citizens there. It was just elite. It was just the elite. And god damn it if that isn't fucking perfect messaging for what's happening right now. Like,
well, my cousin was in DC during the inauguration. And the pictures of him and his wife and their 2 very young children. I mean, when I say very young, I'm talking like 2-month-old twins. Very young. They were in front of the Capitol building, and it looked normal. There was nothing behind them. There was no people there. It looked like a normal fucking winter day, wearing scarves and shit. It looked completely normal. I'm sure on the other side of the Capitol it was a fucking nightmare, though.
Yeah. That was the public-facing side. Like, if you don't think that a gaggle of the most elite of the elite political figures surrounded by 30,000 fucking troops was a fucking message, then I don't know what to tell you.
The only message I got from that though was that, there's a regime starting and a dictatorship potentially, because you don't just have that kind of presentation for no reason. But it
Yeah.
begs the question, is it a domestic issue? Is it a foreign issue? Is it a mixture of both? Or is it none of those things? Is it just because? I mean, I think it was a very bad move on behalf of everyone involved.
You want to know what I think it was? I think it was a media ploy to basically further demonize Trump supporters. They're so dangerous, right? That it required 30,000 troops to contain the shit. That was the messaging, in my opinion.
I think maybe that was domestically the messaging. I think that was the on the face messaging of what they were saying. But I think they were signaling to the world that, the boys are back in town.
Yeah.
Well,
That we have control of this shit, and if you think otherwise, fuck you. I think, I think maybe that was the messaging. But if that's the messaging, right, to the world, is that, hey, we have a strong military and our strong military supports us. If that's the messaging to the world, then I have a big problem with that, because political power in the United States shouldn't come from the military. Political power in the states should come from a democratically elected republic.
Yeah, otherwise it's like straight up, Gestapo type shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's a big problem I have. And with that, I wanted to take a minute and I wanted to talk about the Second Amendment. Right? I want to read a little something from Alexander Hamilton. It said, this is from Federalist 29, if you want to read. This is not all of it. I wanted to talk a little bit about Federalist 29 and about the Second Amendment. And this is going to be part of a long thread on this podcast. I think if we're going to be conservatives and if we're going to talk about conservative issues, then we ought to know what we're conserving. And to me, what I'm conserving is the Constitution. And if you're a conservative and you want to conserve the Constitution, then you should know it. You should know why you have the rights that you have. And so we're going to dive right in. So Alexander Hamilton says in Federalist 29, but if circumstances should at any time oblige the government to form an army of any magnitude, so a government, a federal army, and active duty soldiers, that army can never be formidable to the liberties of the people. While there is a large body of citizens, little if at all inferior to them in discipline in the use of arms, who stand ready to defend their own rights and those of their fellow citizens. This appears to me the only substitute that can be devised for a standing army, and the best possible security against it, if it should exist. So, Alexander Hamilton says that your Second Amendment rights exist specifically as a check on the power of a strong federal military.
Amen.
That's what it's saying. Also, the National Guard is a check on the power of the strong federal military. If you notice, there are much more National Guard troops in this country than there are active duty military. And that is done for a reason. It's because the president has sole authority over the military, over active duty military, and only has authority over the National Guard in a time of emergency or crisis. So if you look at the National Guard, they are split between state leadership and federal leadership. That's done for a reason.
But if I'm not mistaken, in order to have federal leadership over them, the state has to grant that, correct?
Right. Absolutely. Yes. Totally correct. So all of these things, so an armed citizenry, a U.S. military, and a National Guard all exist to check each other's power. That's what all of these things exist to do. It was a genius way of distributing physical force in this country as a political power.
Okay. I mean, I'm cool with, the armed citizen. I mean, shit. Mine's right here. I'm holding my firearm right here, and it's within an arm's reach. Yeah. So, the armed citizenry, we are the largest freestanding military in the world. The American citizen owns 44% of all global gun ownership. I'm a little bit disappointed.
You guys talk amongst each other for just a second.
Okay. I'm a little bit disappointed that we're only at 44%, considering I think we could get at 50. I really do. How far away is your gun, Casey?
Next floor.
Next floor. Good Lord. Come on. That's way too far away.
Listen, I was buried under coffee and some papers and stuff. I'm not moving. My shit's good. My house is. You come to this house, you're getting booby trapped and possibly shot. So that's where that's gonna.
That a girl. So I mean, when it comes to Biden's first 100 days, do you think anything will really change?
Yeah, I think it's going to change for the worse. I think the 100 days, 100 million vaccines or whatever his far-fetched number is catastrophic. I think the mask mandates are useless. I think the Keystone Pipeline is going to severely fuck the American people, and many others.
Getting into that, I'm not sure if you are aware, you yourself are aware, but the pipeline industry is, that's where I made a lot of my money. And all of my friends at Pipeline, outside of like 5 or 6, they're all out of jobs. And a lot of them are freaking the fuck out because, they get used to making a lot of money. So they spend a lot of money, therefore not saving it because every paycheck's kind of like hitting the fucking lottery. And now they're kind of like, dude, I don't know what I'm going to do. It's like, well, you fucking should have shaved when you had a chance. It'll come back. I mean, you need pipelines. You just do. I mean, that's the big thing. A lot of people do not understand. Oh, and Mike is back. We can stop talking shit now, Casey.
Sorry about that.
Hey, bud, we're in the middle of discussing Keystone Pipeline and the ramifications of said. What the fuck is that? He has a
hand cannon.
He has a hand howitzer. Jesus crap.
This is a 44 Magnum Super Blackhawk with an 8.5-inch barrel. Here, I want you to listen to
fucking this. Christ.
While I set this down.
The whole house shook.
Yeah, like literally the whole fucking table just. Yeah, that thing's retarded. Good Lord. I mean,
feel like such a fucking man just having it on my desk.
All I have is a Sig, P320 right here. It'll still do the trick, but it's yeah. Anyway, God damn, it's huge. Let me see the size of that bullet. Okay, all right, real quick. I'm gonna jack a bullet out of the 9mm. Okay, so he is currently holding up one of these rounds, and it is roughly the size of a baby's index finger. And then you have my little pussy shit that looks very much like a 22 in comparison. So, good on you, bud.
This doesn't scream America. I don't know what will.
Yeah. I mean, I'm drinking whiskey. The only thing that's really missing is like some bacon.
Oh, yeah. All right. Bacon's there. All right. Yeah. So while y'all are doing your man shit, there's something that I wanted to circle back to because and I'm being facetious in abusing the word circle back to because of our new press secretary who's a joke. But anyway, back to the papers because we touched on that. After we had briefly spoken about that last time, there was a lot of interest on my end. And many people aren't even really familiar with the beginning, if you will, to the Federalist paper and what the actual purpose and intent was for actually distributing them. So I think everyone is at least well aware that there are 85 op-eds and essays by Alexander Hamilton, James Madison, and we'll include John Jay because it's right, but he only wrote 5 of them.
Hey, man.
But I think that it's important to note that the initial goal before the Federalist Papers came to be was to go and amend the Articles of Confederation because they were recognized as weak and not formidable for a nation, which was done in Independence Hall in the Assembly Room of Philadelphia. Because the problem with the Articles of Confederation were that it gave most of the power to the state and virtually none to the Fed. And then also it was our first constitution, but which led to the Shays Rebellion, blah, blah, blah. We can get into that later. But basically, I think in order for anyone to really have a fair shake at understanding where we've come from and why we've come from that place, you need to read the papers, because it literally breaks down, and you can share that with someone on the right, you can share that with someone on the left, because I think it's universal in saying that it's explaining the Constitution and why it was structured to defend the system that we now have. But the only downside to that is that it doesn't explain the Bill of Rights, which obviously is separate because they are amendments to the Constitution. But the founders weren't big on the Bill of Rights, by the way. And the reason for that is because they felt the government could do anything they wanted that wasn't succinctly described in the Bill of Rights. But they were actually put in newspapers in the beginning in New York, because New York was one of the states that were going to contest the idea of a constitution. Which brings me back to one of the things you touched on, Mike, was that, people today, we have such a way of being able to obtain information, but we don't, because we don't have things like they did back then. You could literally open your newspaper and you would be given the likes of James Madison, Alexander Hamilton, or John Jay. And to think how far we've come from that, I think that if we could somehow fix that and just try to redistribute the truth to people, we could change a lot of the things that are going on.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I mean, if you want to see how far we've fallen, just watch Firing Line sometime. Go on YouTube and watch Firing Line. Right? That's the guy that created National Review. That was his weekly talk show. And he talked to, it was a conservative. It was like maybe the smartest conservative ever that would talk to liberals, like peacenik hippie liberals, about everything. Like, I'm talking, this guy debated Noam Chomsky. Like, well,
did he win?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of Noam Chomsky. I think he's kind of a douche.
If Noam Chomsky was exciting or had any kind of fucking charisma, he would run this country. We would have all been commies.
He's super smart. He's just like such an intellectual fuck that like it's unbearable to listen to.
Unbearable.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem with fucking, like, we talked about this the other day. That's the problem. Like, every fucking time that like something happens, they pursue some dickhead that works at some university, some associate professor from the University of Washington or some shit. And here's my problem with like fucking the professor types and all of those that are engrossed themselves in academia their entire life. You don't understand what the fucking real world looks like. You have the idea of what the real world should look like to your own mind, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Mike, stop.
Yeah, he's over here just waving a fucking massive pistol around.
Feels like July 4th.
Yeah, he's just fucking over here, just like scratching my forehead with the barrel.
I'm so glad no one's gonna see it.
Well, I mean.
So anyway, well played, Joe.
Yeah.
Well played.
Yeah.
So, what I was gonna say is that I'm really glad that you brought that up, Casey, with regards to how we no longer have an educated citizenry because the people that are meant to inform us are not, that's not their goal anymore. Their goal isn't to inform us. Their goal is to make money. And they all have their own interests and they all have their own interest groups. And also, we no longer really have political parties that are of any kind of substance. They've been replaced. Their duties, their roles have been replaced by the major media platforms. And all that is a problem. The media in this country, the fourth estate, shouldn't also be a stand-in for the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. I mean, you're absolutely right there. I think that's crazy. And that's kind of why on this podcast, I wanted to start having arguments of substance having discussions of substance about very specifically our rights. So every week, I want to have a discussion that starts with a reading from the Constitution or
Okay.
a reading from the Federalist Papers that specifically discusses a key issue.
Okay. I think, if I may, one good place to start for those who are unfamiliar with the Federalist Papers or the Constitution, but it's speaking in terms of the Federalist Papers, if you start with Fed 11 and Hamilton, how he had explained when there's a rage for paper money or a rage for abolition of debts or for equal division of property or other wicked or improper projects, they will be less apt to pervade the whole body of the Union or another person. But now, if we look at today, and what the
Doesn't
left is
he
calling for.
specifically say socialism in Fed 11? Isn't there something
And
like he's like paper money or socialism?
yeah, and if you look at what the left is calling for today, it mirrors what he was writing about. And
Yeah.
the best part, I really truly feel the best part of all of this, especially what came from the Federalist Papers and the Constitution, they were not only that they were right, but we have to look at it. Some people argue with me, very few, but some, that there was bad work done in the Constitution and having it. But if we look at it, like slavery, if we take that as the topic and the reason for contention, the founders essentially did good by doing what they did, because had they not done what they done and chose a union, the South would have broken away. We would have had two adversarial pockets and two separate countries on the same continent and a constant threat of war, and we would have never gotten anywhere, and we would have never made way for the Constitution. So I think if we can actually get people engaged to understand that all of this is mostly philosophy and probably a bigger percentage of framework and like a user's manual of what not to do, then we could all fight for what we believe in fairly and realize there are avenues to do that, but we have to know the basics first. It's like the Federalist Papers. I would say it's about 40% philosophy and 60% framework. Whereas without the philosophy, you're not going to have the rest of it. So if we can, speak to whoever listens to us or people outside of this, then we really have a chance at not only waking people up to what they should know, but how to procure the things of the future that they want, and doing that with the Constitution behind them.
Absolutely. And, now that you bring that up, I would love to read next week. I would love to read Frederick Douglass,
Okay.
and his pro-constitutional argument about the abolition of slavery, about how the because when you bring up slavery and you bring up people that say that the founders of the Constitution were slaveholding, property owning men, and that invalidates the Constitution. What I automatically think of is Frederick Douglass using the Constitution as the basis of his argument to the Supreme Court for the abolition of slavery.
I'm down. That's a good place to start, I think.
It to me, it's kind of beautiful that you have in one document, you have a document that creates the three-fifths clause, and you have a document that, absolutely is written by slaveholders. But at the same time, this document is so beautifully written and so intelligently written and does such a good job at creating space for change that it is the foundation of an argument to end slavery, a practice that all of the people that were there were participating in.
Yep.
I would like to preface something real quick. And this is important to me because I think America kind of gets a bad rap for it, the whole slavery thing. Although I'm not proud of our history there, that is not our own unique history. That is the history of the world. I just want to make that fucking clear. We shouldn't be proud of it because we're not. But that is not our own unique thing. That's not like, fuck, China is still doing it to children.
Yeah. Yeah, if you look at what's going on with the Uyghurs right now, absolutely.
Yeah.
here's the thing about that. Slavery really is. It's a pock on our house.
Yeah.
But all of the work, all of the intellectual work, all of the philosophical work that is done to end slavery, and also to bring some measure of equality to the races in this country, it's good work. You know, and that work to me is just as American as any other work that this country has done. You know, yeah, we did a lot of nasty shit during slavery, and Joe, you're right that isn't, that slavery isn't a thing that just that America invented. And chattel slavery existed long
Jesus
before
Christ!
America
Like the
existed.
Jews were enslaved by the Egyptians for 2,000 years.
Yeah. But what I think is amazing, and the thing that makes me proud to be an American, is all the work that we've done to create probably the only successful mixed race society ever in the history of the world.
Yeah.
I don't know. Canada, they're doing okay. They're doing just fine there. Like, I remember thinking, I was probably in my early 20s. I was thinking,
Yeah, but hey,
for whatever reason.
wait. Canada is not as mixed race as the United States is.
True.
I live in Toronto. I can tell you now there is a very, very large
maybe
minority.
maybe some cities for sure. But right now, Canada is dealing with its own fucking problems with regards to that. Europe is dealing with its own fucking problems in regards to that. Yeah, you can have mixed race cities. You know, London has consistently been a mixed race city for its entire, time. But let's be honest here. If you're white in England, you're part of the majority, and a substantial majority, a majority that is enough of a majority for the rest of the minorities to not really fucking matter much in terms of things, right? If you're in fucking Canada, right, and you're white, you're part of a majority, and the only substantial majority in the country. There is no substantive minority in Canada, right? In America, we have a fucking lot of diversity. More diversity
I'm
than
cool with
any
that.
other fucking country.
That's one
And
of
that
my favorite
creates
things about our nation. Yeah.
and that's created a lot of fucking issues that we have to deal with, because we have enough of a diverse population for those minority populations, right, to have their own political interests. That only exists in America. And maybe like parts of fucking Turkey, I guess. But really, only in America do we have diverse populations that are substantial enough to have their own political interests.
That's
Yeah.
fair. Yeah, that's not bad.
Right?
Yeah, I'll
And
give you
that's
that.
what we've been dealing with in this country for 2-3 fucking generations now, is going from a substantive white majority that is the only fucking political class that matters, right, to incorporating multiple political classes. And you know what? I'm fucking proud of how far we've come.
Amen.
You know, we've come really far on that, on incorporating all of the diversity that this country has to offer. And we have room to go, for sure. But god damn it, if I'm going to be the one sitting here saying that, America is somehow fucking more racist than other countries that have never had to fucking deal with race in any kind of fucking real way.
Well, first of all, my opinion on what anybody else has to say about what's going on in America, anybody else, I don't give a shit who you are. International listeners be damned. When I tell you that, like, just so you know, whatever's going on in my country, we're still doing it better than you are. Whatever the case is, whatever the fuck that is. Period. I don't care what it is. War, we do it better. Peace talks, we do them better. Alcohol, we do it better. Fucking
Everything. We
like
do it better.
badminton. We can whoop your ass at badminton. Doesn't matter.
Didn't we beat Canada at curling last year?
I don't.
Or
Curling's
last
not
Olympics?
a real fucking. Just so we're clear.
All right, so that's
curling
not an
is
accomplishment.
yeah.
to be-
You know
Curling
what?
is like
When you
fucking
beat Canada
bowling
at
for
curling,
nerds.
I'm sorry, that is a fucking accomplishment.
No, dude. Like,
Can I ask you a question?
fucking,
Is it really hard to beat Canada at a lot of stuff? I mean, no disrespect to our Canadian friends.
hockey?
Like,
Hockey.
I'm just, all right.
Everybody talk. Okay,
All
first
right,
of all,
hey,
I'm gonna put
all
it
I'm
like
gonna
this.
say is we got brothers on the ice now. That's all I'm gonna say. Good luck, Canada.
Well, yeah, most of them are Canadians. Just so you know, all of the black dudes that are in the NHL, like every one of them's a Canadian. All of them.
Well,
All of them.
well played. I don't
All
know
of
anything
them.
about hockey.
Yeah. Okay. They're all from fucking Ontario or Quebec, and they're all mean as fuck. Like it's.
If
Like,
it's not about
have you ever
guns,
seen?
whiskey, or politics, I don't know a lot.
I don't know, dude. Like, I think Canadian whiskey is actually really fucking Pendleton. Amazing. Absolutely great. Canadian. No, you don't think so, Mike? Because we have consumed a lot of fucking.
Both know that I like Pendleton.
Yes.
That being said, I'm not gonna publicly go against my friends in Kentucky. You know, I'm not gonna
I'll put
publicly
it to you like
adulate
this.
Canadian whiskey.
Given the fucking opportunity to drink Pendleton or this fucking age 12-year per Kentucky China shit, I'm telling you right now, Canada's looking pretty fucking good compared to that crap that I had last night and continue
Does
to
it
drink
say
right
made
now.
in China? Does it say
No,
made in
it
China
actually
on the bottle?
distilled in Kentucky, bottled by Pure Kentucky Distilling Company, Bardstown, Nelson County, Kentucky. You guys missed the fucking mark on a very high level.
Yeah, all right. So wait, where is that?
What? This? Bardstown, Kentucky.
All right. If you're in Bardstown, Kentucky, just know that this distillery is pumping out inferior product.
Dude, this is like straight fucking gut rot, dude.
Goddamn, they're pumping out fucking kerosene and putting Kentucky's name on it. I'm just saying, Kentucky, you're better than this. You can do better. I'm drinking.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
Now. I know you can.
As am I. And here's the thing, though. What you're drinking is like that's a really good bottle of whiskey, right?
Yeah.
I got the old fucking rope-a-dope. Like, how much do you typically pay for a bourbon that's aged 12 years? And I was like, I don't know, $90, $39.99. And I was like, fuck yeah, you're a good salesman. And I proceeded to go home and was immediately disappointed. Immediately disappointed. I had to go to the. I got home after my amazing evening with my wife. You know, we're all in good spirits. I got this new fucking aged 12-year whiskey that I'm really excited about. You know, I cracked the bottle. I sniffed the cork, and I was like, "Oh fuck!"
Instant regret.
Oh yeah, I was like, "God damn it!" So I took a swig. Like, Lindsay, she's in the shower. I'm going to go to the store real quick and get some Coke. She's like, why? Because I have to have something to justify drinking this shit. I can't drink it straight. And if it's aged 12 years, you should be able to drink that shit like it's water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, on the subject of the Second Amendment, I wanted to... Actually, sorry. Not on the subject of the Second Amendment, on the subject of the First Amendment. I wanted to talk about something that's kind of been going on, right?
Yep.
And that's kicking Donald Trump off of Twitter. And that's Section 230. And a lot of people have been having discussions this week regarding regulation of the internet. And I kind of wanted to put forth a couple of arguments, but first I wanted to kind of hear what you guys had to say about that.
Okay.
Casey, you can go ahead. Ladies first, go ahead.
I think it's bullshit. I think when you have the power in big tech to censor the president of the United States or, you know, anybody really, That's a very dangerous precedent, one that really shouldn't be said at all. I mean, does that really even need said? I would love to see the arguments of those who support that decision and why they feel that way and how they don't feel it's infringing on something very sacred that they don't realize will be used against them too. Once you start to silence people, it's a domino effect. And those who ignorantly believe these same people won't use these tactics against them, they're fools, because it doesn't really matter who you are in the long run. If they want to censor you and that gets implemented, they're going to use that at any turn where they find a disagreement. So it's just that's my opinion.
I don't necessarily disagree. I think where I take pause though is like if I think that it's wrong what's happening. I don't necessarily support it, but to me it reminds me of like if you go into a bar, they have signs that say we reserve the right to refuse service to anybody for any reason or no reason, and that's kind of what's happening here is they refuse service to Donald Trump. It is concerning though when the president of if you can censor the president of the United States, how are you, or the former president of the United States, what chance do I have? Little old fucking me, right?
Right.
So I think it's wrong that the powers that be in big tech have more power than the president of the United States. Furthermore, me and Mike discussed this last week that Google is actively destroying America with their search engine. Because if I was to say, if Mike was to ask me, how do I change a transmission in a car? I don't know how to do that. So you know what I'm going to tell him? Google it.
Right.
It's become Band-Aid, Q-tip, shit like that. Right. And they basically monitor what your search can look like. If you look at most search engines, Google, the majority of the major search engines, you're going to get a very biased fucking response.
Read.
If you go to one of these, these lesser known search engines, you're going to get an honest response. But unfortunately, Google has cornered the market. What they'll probably continue to do is buy up all these other search engines, and they are actively suppressing free thought in this country. Am I wrong there, Mike?
The other day, I had tried to create a Gab account, and because my email was a Gmail account, it literally blocked out the confirmation email from Gab from being sent to me.
Wow.
So if
that's
that
amazing.
doesn't tell you how far they've taken it, and that's kind of why the favorite book question, I'm glad you asked that, because Fahrenheit 51, it literally depicts a society with no genuine connections, no open conversation, no distinction in thought, and it's an excessive reliance on technology, which will be our downfall. And to see someone like Google come in and put your, ability to even use your email in a chokehold, that's daunting to me.
You're not wrong. I agree 100%.
So here's kind of where I'm at on this. And Casey, I think you're 100% right. When you put a chokehold on people, I think you're right. Like it's only inevitable that comes back on you. My idea about this is that it's a prohibitionist issue. So what they're doing right now to me is they're shutting down all of these means of communication and all of these people that are communicating that don't agree with a very specific type of narrative, right? So you start with, Alex Jones, and you wind up with a presidential candidate that 70 million people voted for. If that's not prohibition of ideas, then I don't know what the hell is. So what I kind of wanted to say about that was that if these bad ideas that you're thinking of, ideas that are on the fringe, ideas that may lead to violence, ideas that the mainstream doesn't agree with, if they have to compete on the open market, then they're open to ridicule and they're open to competition. And that actually reduces the demand for those ideas. Like if you have ideas that are stupid, right? And they are open to a slew of comments on the internet that put them on their face as being stupid, then that reduces the demand for those ideas. But if you cancel those people, you actually force those ideas into a black market where people have to go seek them out. And that creates demand. Because, like, that's the reason that the kind of like the war on drugs doesn't work. It's because you basically take a product that people want, and instead of putting it on the open market where that price would reduce, where that business would have to compete against everybody else, right? Then Juan that sells fucking, or, you know, Tommy that sells fucking cocaine on the street corner, he now doesn't have to compete against Walmart. You know, he gets to compete as fucking Tommy.
Yeah.
And all he has to really worry about is the authorities catching him. He doesn't have to worry about competing against people that would take him out at the knees. And I kind of think ideas are the same way. You know, if you have to compete, if you have fringe ideas and you have to compete against all the other ideas, then you're kind of fucking hit. But if all you have to fucking compete against is Facebook censors, then that kind of puts you in a good position.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not terribly unreasonable.
It also makes it really easy to take these marginalized fucking ideas, put them in a box where only people that want to hear those ideas can get to them, and then those people are never exposed to any other fucking ideas.
Yeah.
You know, I think it only serves to strengthen these things that they want to suppress. That's my point.
Okay.
Fair. Well said.
I think when Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House's husband, is a massive tech giant in Silicon Valley, that, you know, it's kind of convenient that dude has those connections with the Zuckerbergs of the world, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, for the longest time, you could buy a fucking ISIS flag on Amazon, but you couldn't buy a Confederate flag. It's fucking disgusting to me.
Yeah.
You know, not that I condone, you know. Here's the thing. I'm not saying that, like, you shouldn't be able to buy an ISIS flag. If that's what you're into, cool. I hope your balls explode, but, like, cool, right? But you shouldn't be able to you shouldn't be able to profit off of one extremist group and then censor, you know, the idea of maybe this is going to be used for extremist activities. Because let's just be real. A majority of the people that support the conservative, you know, the Confederate flag, not a fucking Klansman. You know, they're not extremists. They're just some Southern bubba who just wants to fucking fly his Southern pride flag. That's all it is to him. But if you fly an ISIS flag, I'm pretty sure I know what the fuck you're about.
Exactly.
You know, the further north of the Mason-Dixon you get with that Confederate flag, though, the more and more I think you're probably a racist.
I don't know. I was in Michigan. And there was this dude. He had a Confederate flag everywhere. Like, you're in fucking Michigan, dude. Like, you're literally touching Canada. Stop it. You know?
Like, growing up in Alabama, everyone had Confederate flags.
It's Alabama, dude.
Yeah, like, growing up in
Leonard
Alabama,
Skinner made that shit cool.
Yeah, I had a Confederate flag hanging up in my room. I didn't even know what racism was. I mean, honestly, because I didn't know any black people because I lived in South Alabama. But
but I think, you know, like Leonard Skinner kind of popularized the idea of, like, Southern pride, without it being like, you know, it's more of a rock and roll movement than it is like a fucking racist thing, right? I mean, like,
I actually just had a debate the other day with a lefty or whatever I don't even know where they fall really. And their whole argument was the same argument we usually hear, that the Confederate flag is racist, which is actually false. It really was derived to show Southern heritage, resistance from a tyrannical federal government, states' rights, and individual responsibility. And if someone retorts with, "Oh well, the KKK used it," that's also a bunch of shit because all the chapters banned the rebel flag except for 2, which weren't even the mainstream chapters. So
Well,
I think if people took a little time to read more into that, they'd understand.
well, a few years ago when the Klan did their march in D.C., and just for the record, I think these guys are a bunch of fucking idiots. They just are.
Right.
They only carried 2 flags. One was the American flag, and the other one was the Christian flag. So where do you draw the line on, like, just because some fuckface that believes all this bullshit carries this thing that makes it a problem? Like, is the Christian flag now racist?
You know what? If you listen to the news, yeah.
Well,
They literally called that a racist flag.
Well,
They said,
don't listen to the news. Listen to me. I'm more.
they
intelligent.
literally said this is the flag of a fundamentalist racist sect of Christians. And I'm like, pretty sure that's not the case, bud.
I'll take
Yeah.
no for 500.
Goodness. Well, okay. There was this thing when I was in
I'll
high
take
school.
Anderson Cooper works for the CIA for 500.
Let's not go there again. God damn it! Like our early episodes, he was on this Anderson Cooper's in the CIA shit for a long fucking time. I think he's gonna have shirts made. Anderson Cooper is in the CIA. Probably. Hey, Fire Team Designs guys, we need to plug them still. If you guys want to get on it and make some fucking Anderson Cooper is in the CIA t-shirts, Mike would fucking buy all of them.
I would buy all of them. Anderson Cooper, CIA, question mark.
Question mark? There's no question mark there.
On the
You
back,
nailed it.
by Mike.
Anderson Cooper, citizen CIA.
Yeah. Like, / Silver Fox.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not, right?
Call
Yeah,
sign
right.
Silver Fox.
Yeah. God damn it. I will say, though, that, like, his early fucking footage of, like, Bosnia was pretty awesome.
Yeah. That's what happens when you work for the CIA. You get great footage.
Stop it. You guys about ready to wrap this one up?
Yeah, I think it's about time.
Yeah, we've been at it for about an hour 30. Real quick, though, we would like to advise everyone that Fire Team Designs, our shit is up on the website. Please go over there, check it out. If you don't like our shit, I understand. It's Mike's space. It's not much to like about it.
It's awesome. Looks great.
But if you go over there, let
so
them know that we
pretty.
sent you 10% off everything. And they have everything from t-shirts to hoodies to fucking cups to coasters. They have these bottle openers called decapitators that are pretty badass. And
you can get everything from a hoodie with my face on it to a vacuum sealed mug with my face on it. Just saying.
We get one of those little mugs that you started out with, your like pretty little cup there. Are they
with
available?
my face on it.
Nice.
No.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that we're going to discuss whether the Anderson Cooper line will be coming out pretty fucking soon here.
Nice.
Yeah. But
that's a great line. I want that in my life.
And they also hate pedophiles. So if you like pedophiles, that's probably not the store for you. But if you hate pedophiles,
Operation Wolf Eyes.
Yeah. So, but if you hate pedophiles, fireteamdesigns.com. Let them know we sent you. Gives you an awesome little discount there. We really appreciate all the support that you guys lend us. That goes to our sponsor as well. We really do appreciate everything that you guys have done for us. And to our listeners, guys, we only come back for you. That's it. Like we love what we have created here. We're super glad that Casey Lynn's here with us. She only makes the show better. She only makes Mike think harder. And she only insists that I talk more shit than I normally do. So, Casey Lynn, thank you so much for joining us on a permanent basis. And we are very excited about this. And we are just elated to have you as a part of the show here.
Thank y'all the same. Humbled, and I appreciate it, and I enjoy it. So hopefully we can keep doing this and being goons.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Goon
For
squad.
everybody, again, thank you guys so much for tuning in this week. We really appreciate everything. What do you guys want to do next week?
We're gonna do Frederick Douglass and other shit, right?
Yeah, Frederick Douglass.
The reason
and
that I'm
other
asking
shit.
is we're supposed to be linking up with fucking Andy from Operation Wolf Eyes here pretty goddamn soon. So we should probably get a hold of him and see when he's free.
We should probably do a lot of things.
I agree.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'll reach out to
So-
him, see what's up, and then are you guys down to do like a middle of the week thing? If we have
Maybe,
to?
yeah, sure. If we have to, I am.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that being said, I think that will wrap us up for the week. If you guys
Anytime anytime I have a chance to talk about how little I give a shit about pedophiles and how much I care about kids and women not being, beaten or sexually abused, that is a fucking podcast worth having.
Yeah, and we'll do it anytime we have to. I'm good with that.
Any fucking time.
Amen.
Anytime we can put it out there, that Operation Wolf Eyes is out there, that they're doing God's work, and that you should give them money. Anytime I can say that, and people might listen or hear, yeah, let's go for that.
Absolutely. If you guys have any comments or concerns or questions or whatever, for me, myself, or Mike, myself, or Casey, feel free to hit us up, Mike Miller Show at yahoo.com, and we will respond to you guys accordingly. But thank you guys so much for tuning in once again, and we will see you guys next week.
See you next week. Mike Miller Show, out.
Out.
Later.
Oops.
You're still recording, asshole.
Okay.
Hit stop.